In my previous videos, I took you on a tour through old castles and fortresses built from 12th to 17th centuries by the Dukes Frankopan and Zrinski. And in my following videos, I'm going to show you some parts of my hometown, but also a part of the town Opatija, Kastav and Sen. And if you have any questions or you would just like to leave a comment, feel free to do it. Thank you. Bye-bye. I'm so excited. Are you excited? Of course he is. I'm excited to show you some parts of my hometown, Rijeka. So let's start with a city name. Rijeka means river. And this is the river Riječina. Flows through the city directly into the sea. But this isn't originally the riverbed. So let's go see the original one. So this is the original riverbed of river Riječina. So what happened? Well, back in 19th century, due to frequent floods, authorities decided to change the river course to dig another riverbed, and then they let the seawater into this one. And since 19th century, this canal is called Dead Canal. Well, it wasn't dead because it was also a port. So smaller boats from Kvarner Islands, from Dalmatia, sailed into this canal, and the people brought fruits and vegetables and wine and olive oil, and they sell it here, but they also exchange their goods for some tools or some products of leather or fabrics. Does this tower look a bit leaning to you? Because it is. It's a leaning tower. It's not so famous like the one in Pisa in Italy, but it's still a leaning tower. And across the tower, this is a church, Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary. The church was built in 14th century as a smaller church on the remains of Roman baths, but then after the earthquake in 1750 it was completely rebuilt. At the time it was the biggest church in town. So I'm going to get inside and take some photos. Here, between the church and the tower, beneath this asphalt, there are actually remains of Roman thermal baths. And it's really a shame that authorities couldn't find a way to protect them, but also the people could actually see these remains. And on this photo, you can see Leaning Tower, and beneath the Leaning Tower there were some remains of Roman baths. And this monument is dedicated to hard-working women who used to carry milk and coal for the citizens of Rijeka. And they walked every single day 30 kilometers in winter when it's cold, snowy, or in summer when the temperature rises up to 40 degrees. So they certainly have my respect. When Romans came here for the first time in 1st century, they decided to stay. And it was a reasonable decision because here they had everything they needed: a fresh water from the river Riječina, a port, and of course Adriatic Sea rich with fish. So they built here a small settlement called Tarsatica. And Tarsatica became a municipium. It means the citizens from Tarsatica were also citizens of Rome. So they built this old gate, or Arco Romano, which is under construction now. And this old gate is also the oldest archaeological monument in Rijeka. At the time, not only Roman legionaries, but also prisoners of war and slaves started to build so-called claustra alpium lulilarium system, or defense system. So this defense system was built from Aquileia in Italy through to Satica, further to Senia or Sen, and further to Salona or Solin. So in 3rd century, the Romans built here a principium. It means a military command. So in front of me you can see a part of the courtyard. On the right side, remains of some premises. And here in front of me, it was a Roman basilica. It was a public building with multiple functions. And on the right side you can see stairs, and there was also a huge storage, weapon storage, and warehouse. So all these movable parts are now stored in Archaeological and History Museum in Rijeka. So I have here some maps and photos. So on the first one you can see this road from Aquileia through to Satica, further to Solin. And here, this is the photo of this Roman basilica. So you can see this was the basilica and some premises, entrance, this Arco Romano. And here there were also weapon storage. And then in 4th century, many different tribes invaded, and Roman control became weaker. And finally, in 5th century, when Franks came here, this principe was completely destroyed.